Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, world. Thank you for joining us on Morning Spring today on Western Spring Television. And it's Morning Spring o'clock. What we do here is to speak truth to power, to speak about issues, in the public space for the public good. That is the actual nature of this program. That's why we wake every day to have this conversation, because we must just keep talking about it. Identifying the challenges, analyzing it, wholly different prism, different angles, different persons saying different things, towards the same goal. It's about the progress of this great nation called Nigeria. Femi Ojo is my name, and you are welcome. On the program, we look at various headlines from our major dailies. And I bet you they are very interesting. You love to see them because it gets you informed and updated about various happenings in our nation and sometimes beyond the shores of this great nation called Nigeria. Great nation, good people. Nigeria, the green and white flagged people of Nigeria. Thank you. And of course, at the other side of that, we then get talking about various issues, and we will be looking into that. Yesterday, we looked into, the appointment of new security chiefs. The intention, which the federal government has said, is to renew, and to strengthen the war against insecurity in Nigeria, to align the security architecture in Nigeria for better output. But, some Nigerians think maybe might have something to do with the rumored coup attempt that got into the mainstream news like 2 weeks ago. But then it is just what it is. Now, the security chiefs have met, all of them, met with Mr. President. That's the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. The armed forces of the nation yesterday, with a renewed vigor. The mandate. Okay, so what will it be? What will Nigerians expect? Is it just a routine change, or Nigerians should be hopeful? How about the war against banditry and kidnapping in Nigeria? Where are we on that right now? Because it seems, can we really say that we have a measurable progress in Nigeria, especially war against these criminals running, all over the place and causing havoc? Actually, these are some of the issues. Kidnapping is still going on, especially in the northern part of the country, even in the eastern corridor, pockets of kidnappings, even in the south. These are the issues, and this is Nigeria. For God's sake, Nigeria, 236 million people being bedeviled by these people. Where is the letdown coming from? Can whatever that has been achieved under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu be measured to say this is the progress, plus or minus? This is what we have done, not just to neutralize cause of bandits here, and then the other ones are still, wreaking havoc at the other end and pockets of places, overrunning army bases. These are some of the issues, because we want you to be steady progress. Nigerians deserve to live. They deserve to be happy. They deserve to sleep with their two eyes closed. And that is why this conversation of security, every time we have opportunity to look at it, only we must continue to look at it. Now, we'll take another angle on that story today, because you know why? It's a secured nation and a secured country, that can think about economic progress, that investors, both within and both from outside, can think about investing. You have to know that your funds are safe in a stable atmosphere, that the structure you are going to put on ground will be safe. People that work for you is going to be, they are going to be safe, working in a safe environment. That's when you can talk about education. That's when you can talk about health. That's when you can talk about economy that is, blossoming without. So all of these are premised on having a secured human lives and property. So how have we fared on that? These are the issues. By the way, talking about politics in Nigeria, it's quite becoming, especially the opposition, PDP at the national level, they are a bunch of jokes, actually. That is who they are. That's what they are. And I hope they know. I know they know. That's it. with what has happened, losing the core of that party, talking about the executives at the state level, governors, parliamentarians, to the ruling APC. Now, those that are remaining there that have said, okay, we try to reorganize and rejuvenate this party. Let's have a convention. And the convention plan now is being torn into shreds from different angles. First it was those that are saying the convention, they are not part of the plan and all of those things. Then the issue of the national secretary who said the planning or the ratification to say, let's go have a convention in Ibadan. He was not even, that Senator Anya was saying, he was not even part of it. He didn't sign, to that agreement to have a national convention slated for Ibadan. That's another angle. And then the issue of chairmanship. Who will be the chairman? Now, some are alleging that he had been shut out of applying, a former governor, a former governor of the northern state, one of the northern states, I've forgotten, I remember, has said he wants to be chairman of the same party, and then he's being shut out. I think that's, Lamido, Governor Lamido, former governor of Jigawa State. He wants to be a chairman. That form is not being sold to him. And some are saying, okay, it's Taminu Turaki, former minister as well, that some persons have reached a consensus, especially the northern folks, that this will be our chairman. And so it is where we are right now. Who becomes the chairman? So whatever is left of the soul of the PDP, it's really in shambles today. So who will be the main opposition party in Nigeria? I hear you. Did you say Labour Party? Labour Party, with all that's a party being pulled on different directions as well. There's an Amadi Sambo-led Labour Party. There's the Sita Abure-led Labour Party, in which they are saying they are the ones in charge. Someone will say, where's P2? It seems the P2 is aligning with the Nenadi Usman, and by the way, the same P2 is fraternizing with the ADC. Talk about the ADC, there are some that are saying this is our party, you came to hijack this party from us. At the end of the day, the ANEC has recognized the Senator David Mark and Rauf Aregbesola-led leadership to say, you are the people. But how much of a support do they have now? Till now, we haven't seen any serving official at the local level, as a councillor, as a local government chairman, as a governor, as a House of Reps member, as a senator, cross carpet into that party. And that is a party that is waiting to wrestle power in less than 2 years from the APC. Who exactly, or which party exactly can you call the opposition party in this nation called Nigeria? And that's why some are saying, as far as 2027 is concerned, maybe President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is home and dry, because those that will give him a run for their money, they are jerking. They are still playing. These are some of the issues. And in Osun State as well, the election is gearing up. The aspirants are putting their, plans in order, galvanizing for support. Let's talk about Anambra State, where in the next less than 2 weeks now, they will be going to the poll to elect a new governor or to return the incumbent. That is what it is. And the campaign is hotting up. The APC wants to take that state, of course, duly so, by the constitution of our land, if the people think they should. But then the APGA, the way they call it, APGA party, they are standing strong with the incumbent governor, Charles Chukwuma Soludo, seeking re-election. Who will he be? The issue of voter apathy is a major concern in that state. At the last election, the vote that returned Governor Soludo was abysmally low, not just for himself, the total number of people that went to the polls. Now, will they improve in that? A lot needs to be said. But all of these, now, the issue of Nnamdi Kanu is another one. The leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, in which we learned last week, he relieved all his counsel of their duty of, representing him at the court. And he said he would rather represent himself in court, and we saw when he did represent himself in court, and though he was told to go ahead and call witnesses, and the man had to stand down, he hasn't called the witnesses, and he had to be told the implication of what is going on. You sacked your counsel. or you told them to stand down, you rather represent yourself. How much of a laws do you know? Even if you can read up, are you a lawyer? But then he's within his right to represent himself. Now, when you are going to represent yourself, and in such a case, call witnesses, and ask questions, there's a lot of those things, and he's not doing that. So it's back to status quo. In fact, news added that the man said, because of how everything has been, in fact, he said he has no case to answer. That's what he said, because he said, a court or some court have, granted him what he's seeking for, but it seems some persons don't even understand. We've seen some tirades, some, outbursts from the man accusing lawyers and some judges of not even understanding the same law that they have sworn to. That's Nnamdi Kanu. That's what he has said. And many persons are waiting. What will be the outcome of this decision, in which he has taken for him to represent himself? That's just a rundown of what has happened so far. A tiny bit of it, but you get to hear more in the papers. And it's next. Stay with me. All right, I'll kickstart the newspaper segment this morning with The Guardian. The Guardian newspaper. Interesting big bold headline here. Nigerian international travelers to pay extra $11.5 charge per ticket from December 1. The Guardian has that Nigerian international travelers to pay extra $11.5 charge per ticket from December 1. All right, so much for travelers. First, it was the price of international passport, that was hiked. And, the people in charge gave their reasons. But now, if you must travel as an international traveler, you have to pay extra $11.5 charge per ticket from December 1. You want to know why? Page 6 of The Guardian. Hashtag. All right, and from December 1, 2025, still on the same headline, Nigeria's inbound and outbound passengers will pay an additional $11.5 security level. $11.5. That should be, maybe like 13,000 or thereabout, if my mathematics are not too rusty. All right, still on the same headline, 4.13 million passengers movement in 2024. Talking about boarding pass, 4.13 million passenger movement in 2024, and 30 international airlines operated 14,359 flights in 2024. All right. Away from that, PDP in fresh crisis over chairmanship consensus deal ahead of convention. PDP in fresh crisis over chairmanship consensus deal ahead of convention. And Kanu refuses to enter defense, claims no case against him. Yeah, something I said earlier. Kanu refuses to enter defense, claims no case against him. I hope he's aware of the consequences of what he is doing or what he is choosing to do. And commissioner not wearing Tinubu's signature cap will be suspended, says Edo APC chair. Interesting, it is what it is. You remember last week, I think we had a video here, where the governor of Edo State, Governor Monday Okpebolo, spoke at a state function where he addresses commissioners that if they don't come, well, anytime they are putting on the native attire, it is mandatory. That is the signature Tinubu cap that they should wear to the cabinet. And if they choose not to wear that, if they dare come for cabinet meeting, they will be turned back. That's what the governor said. I actually caught on video. And now we are hearing that the APC chairman in Edo State has said commissioner not wearing Tinubu's signature will be suspended. That means as a party member of the APC in Edo State, as a commissioner, you must wear, the Tinubu's signature cap, that infinity sign cap, inverted infinity sign cap. You must put it on as a sign of loyalty to the party and Mr. President. And you wonder if the APC chairman has any power over a commissioner. But then what he's saying is they can be suspended as, an APC member or chieftain in Edo State. So much for loyalty. All right. New Afri-Exim Bank boss tasks African leaders on open borders trade. New Afri-Exim Bank boss task African leaders on open borders and trade, and bandits impose 15 million naira levy on Tambuwa's constituents, threatening fresh attacks. Bandits impose 15 million naira levy on Tambuwa's constituents, threatening fresh attacks. Tambuwa is in Sokoto State, and you can imagine the audacity of these bandits, right? To do that, it's criminals to impose levy. Actually, interesting. You look into that in the course of the program, the conversation, and even talk more. Now, to Ekiti State, Oyebanji emerges APC's candidate for Ekiti Guba polls. Oyebanji emerges APC's candidate for Ekiti Guba polls. There are some that will say possibly that's the most reasonable thing to do, because except in rare cases, actually, it's always most likely like a waste of time if anybody is dragging a ticket with an incumbent governor who is really in charge, actually, and is seeking re-election. More like wasting your time. So a consensus candidate, that's what he has been made to be, the governor of Ekiti State, Abiodun Oyebanji, seeking re-election by June next year. And NARD insists on November 1 strike, claims health workers owed 38 billion naira in 2 years. This is the picture of the Minister of Health there, Professor Ali Pate. NARD insists on November 1 strike, claims health workers owed 38 billion naira in 2 years. All right, an ADC accuses Tinubu's government of manipulating food prices for political gains. What exactly does that mean? ADC accuses Tinubu's government of manipulating food prices for political gains. News page 3 has that. What exactly does that mean? Manipulating food prices. All right. Away from the Guardian newspaper, let's see The Nation for today. The Nation newspaper. And screaming at the center, boldly written, Lamido attacks PDP governance over exclusion from chair race. Lamido attacks PDP governance over exclusion from chair race with 2 riders. The first, ex-Jigawa governor threatens legal action, and the second rider, Turaki Fit, to lead party. All right, and there is a quote there that all of them met me in PDP. Where were they in 1998 when the PDP was formed? Where were they when we fought for the party all through the last 5 years? That, I guess, is coming from ex-governor Lamido, all right, talking about how he has been excluded from the race to be the chairman of the PDP, in as much the PDP has owned the presidency, the presidential candidacy to the south. So it's only expedient that the northern chairman, the chairman, national chairmanship position is zoned to the north. All right, and 885 delegates ratify Oyebanji's nomination. 885 delegates ratify Oyebanji's nomination. Interesting. All right, and so is the consensus candidates for the APC in the next Guba poll, and also it doubles as the governor of Ekiti State. And right here you see the picture of the candidate of the APC in the next election, and some of the dignitaries that were there. His hands being raised there as the consensus candidates. There's Senator Okpeyemi Bamidele there, the Edo State Governor Monday Okpebolo there. All right, he's immediate as Oyebanji's immediate predecessor, Governor Kayode Fayemi there as well, and former Governor Ni Adebayo, all of them there raising their hands of the man, obviously showing their support, at least with what we can see. Away from that, bottom strip, written in red here, Judge to IPOP leader Kanu. This is not economics. This is a criminal prosecution. This is from the judge to IPOP leader Nnamdi Kanu. This is not economics. This is a criminal prosecution, sir. Possibly he needs to be told, he needs to be aware was what actually he is in. Right. Lotus Bank seeks to recover $1 billion withdrawn during glitch. Lotus Bank seeks to recover $1 billion withdrawn during glitch, and how DSS aborted Tommy's shadow cabinet through legal process. How DSS aborted Tommy's shadow cabinet through legal process. And battle for 9 mobile ownership shift to Court of Appeal, while JAM clears 85 underage candidates for admission. JAM clears 85 underage candidates for admission. Interesting, the ban on underage, what JAM is called underage, inclusion of, minors, so to speak, in writing JAM, but some of them have been cleared. I think less than 15-year-olds have been cleared for exceptional performance. And that's what they call it, exceptional. Just 85 in the whole of the nation. So you know how exceptional, because anybody below the age of 16 is not expected to write a JAM in Nigeria, actually. All right, or seek university or tertiary institution admission. That is the educational policy. Now, let's move to the Punch. The Punch newspaper for this morning with different headlines. At the center, chairmanship, PDP consensus deal shatters as Lamido rejects Turaki. Now on the front page of the Punch newspaper. PDP consensus deal shatters as Lamido rejects Turaki. All right. And a writer to that says, tension ahead of convention, screening postponed indefinitely, Lamido heads to court, Turaki advances bid. Interesting. All right, and below you have insecurity, Tinubu presses new service chiefs for immediate action. Insecurity, Tinubu presses new service chiefs for immediate action. And you see the men there, all of them, the new chief of army staff, naval staff, air staff, and of course the defense chief, with the man in charge of defense intelligence, Emmanuel Udende, with the president and the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Below that, collapsed Lagos building. Occupants ignored distress signs. Residents. Collapsed Lagos building. Occupants ignored distress signs. Please, let's be more responsible as a people. Hardship. Akpabio Yutwada challenged Nigerians to monitor governance. Hardship. Akpabio, that's the Senate President and the APC National Chairman, Tanwe Yutwada, challenged Nigerians to monitor governance. What he is saying is, your governors have more money. Ask them questions. All right, not just Tinubu alone. All right, all of them, starting from Mr. President Tinubu, will be asked questions, including the governors and the parliamentarians themselves. All right, including Senator Akpabio. All of you holding offices in trust for the Nigerian people will ask you questions. All right. Terrorism. George begs Kanu in God's name to consult lawyers. Terrorism. George begs Kanu in God's name to consult lawyers. Interesting. All right, and doctors mobilized for Friday strike amid 38 billion naira unpaid allowances. Doctors mobilized for Friday strike amid 38 billion naira unpaid allowances. And Natasha broke penal code in attacks on Akpabio and Bello. AGF. We back here with this Natasha issue again. Natasha broke penal code in attacks on Akpabio and Bello. AGF. All right. And Tinubu Obasanjo lead dignitaries to honor late Christopher Olade, media icon and elder statesman who has passed on. Tinubu Obasanjo lead dignitaries to honor late Christopher Olade. And interesting one here. 92-year-old Bia's 8th term win sparks protest in Cameroon. 92-year-old Bia's excuse me, I take that again. 92-year-old Bia's 8th term win sparks protest in Cameroon. So what it means is Mr. Paul Biya has again been declared, the president of Cameroon. He's 92-year-old and is on his 8th term. Yeah, you heard me well. 8th term. Actually, in Nigeria, the highest you can go is 2 terms with the constitutional democracy we operate in. But in Cameroon, Mr. Biya, more than 43 years now, has been in power, and he has been re-elected again for the 8th. Okay, that's 8th time. Congratulations, a big one to the people of Cameroon for electing, the man, or selecting the man, whatever comes first. But then it is sparking protest in Cameroon, because so many persons will say, excuse us, what exactly it is, but then it is what it is. And lastly, for today, This Day newspaper. Let's give you what the front page of This Day looks like on a day like this. Tinubu leads others in tributes for late statesman Christopher Kolade. Tinubu leads others in tributes for late statesman Christopher Kolade, with riders to that headline. He lived a life of integrity, service, and all right, and that is coming from the president. A life of integrity and service. And Obasanjo, Sanwo-Olu, Obi, Gbajabiamila, Okonjo-Iweala, others honor statesman at service of songs that was a quality of life, and of course the quality of people around shows the quality of life the man lived. Below that you have a picture of the new service chiefs with the Oga, because the commander-in-chief is the chief of everyone. All right, as far as the military is concerned. And PDP yet to learn its lessons as party denies Lamido nomination form for chair. And Amukpito, court can't continue to decide election winners. It must be at polling units. Court can't continue to decide election winners. It must be at polling units. And vows to reduce pre-election litigation, seeks support at 56th NALT conference. Says with sound legal framework, necessary reforms, losers won't hesitate to congratulate winners. And I think he has picked these words carefully. With sound legal framework and necessary reforms, losers won't hesitate to congratulate winners. Interesting. We wish him all the best, because the man has been talking, optimistically, like somebody on assignment and is ready to work. All right, and lastly, just to reiterate one of those headlines I took earlier in the previous papers, amid opposition protest, Cameroon's Paul Biya re-elected at 92. He's almost a centurion, actually, because he's 8 years from being 100 years old, yet he's still reigning, and he has been re-elected. He's an incumbent, and re-elected for the 8th term. All right, that would be all. So, I'm sure not many Africans will like to ask, does that mean in more than 4 decades of the man, Paul Biya, he hasn't developed, supported, created, grown, or watched leaders emerge to take over. That means he has been the one. Now, in Cameroon, it means if you are born in Cameroon or you're staying there, since you have been born, if you are 40 years old, that means that's the only president you have ever known. And that is not a king. It's not a king that you call Kabiyesi that, you know, they have to die there or be removed by the law, actually. But, you know, if Cameroonians are fine with it, who am I to complain? That's just what it is. This morning, I'm sure you have been served, you have been informed, you have been updated about various happenings in our society. And I said it earlier, even beyond the shores of the state, beyond the shores of this great nation called Nigeria, you just know what is, you have just been intimated with what is happening with our brothers, younger brothers, the Cameroonians, electing a 92-year-old, 48th time, actually, to be the president. Whatever happens there, we wish them all the best. We learn that protest is brave. Let it be contained so that people will not end up dying, actually, because I think during the course of the week, earlier in the week, it was reported that 4 persons died, you know, because of a protest about the same issue and about the same this matter. Take a quick break right now. When we return, you will be asked, and of course, when I mean you will be asked to say what you feel will be your mandate. If you have to have a sit down today with the new security chiefs, I dare ask you, what will you be asking of them? What will you be telling them? Yeah, that's the kind of conversation we want to have after now, because they are new. 90% of them are new in this job, I mean, at the highest level right now. But then Nigerians want answers, not just positions. And of course, you will get to ask them. Stay with us.